Well, I have to start, Mickey, with the way you went out because I think shocked would be an understatement. We saw that reaction across your face. And I'm not sure if you saw at the time, but the house was certainly in I wouldn't say celebratory, but certainly in a mood about your leaving of the house. Give me your reaction to your departure, and does that come as a surprise to you?
Honestly, okay, my departure, I was so shocked. I was. I would be lying if I said I was not. But I'll be honest, a little bit was relief too. Those people in that house were getting on my nerves. Let's be really real. To be frank, they were. And I honestly was definitely a middle woman. I had the children on this side and the older adults on this side and me in the middle. And I was just like, woo, Lord help me. But honestly, the celebratory moment, I did sense a glimpse of that. And I won't even say it was hurtful. I think it was expected. My discernment was pretty accurate when saying that I felt some things in the house were not the same as they were early on. And I just couldn't put my finger on it or didn't have enough time to dissect it. But that just lets me know that my discernment is on point and I kind of knew what was going on without knowing.
Yeah, so you talk about sort of picking up this vibe earlier in the week that maybe the people you thought on your side weren't. I'm not sure if you're aware, but you came through clutch in those competition wins the past couple of weeks, and they turned out to be really handy because the tide was already kind of turning against you seemingly as far back as the Riley eviction. What was your reaction to that? Does this come as a surprise to you?
It doesn't. I think what happened was I think Morgan was really upset that she felt like I wasn't going to keep her. And I'll be honest, she was somewhat right because I was torn in regards to keeping Riley over Morgan just because I didn't trust Morgan a lot in that moment. And I knew that like Riley wanted to get out Rachel. I knew that he was someone that wouldn't come for me. And I kind of trusted him a little bit more. But I really just stuck to the loyalty factor, which obviously bit me in the butt. But that was my main concern at the point. Yeah.
So you had mentioned in your interview with Julie that people had approached you saying, okay, maybe you should throw the blockbuster because you're safe. Vince might not be. And look, from our perspective, you took your time with those balls, seemingly. Did you end up throwing the blockbuster?
So you know what? I would not say that I threw the blockbuster. No, I did not go as hard as I would have gone. Because let's be honest, I am a mini blockbuster queen. I definitely would have aced that and been good. I did let up just a little bit, but I wouldn't say throw it. I just wanted to make sure that I gave Vince an equal opportunity, just because I do think I went out. I went him out when it comes to athleticism. Let's be honest. So I knew I was going to eat him up, and I almost did. But I wouldn't say throw, but I kind of was a little nice on him for sure. Yeah.
Well, your game is so interesting, Mickey, because from our perspective, the first month is really on the uptick. You get this power, you use it successfully when you feel like you're going on the block,
Yeah.
and then you hit your HOH. And you make this decision to put up Jimmy. You talk about how you feel like he's been, manipulating. I think you say in your speech that, it's a game you don't respect. You said it was a faith-based decision. Talk to me more about your logic here and how do you look back on that decision now?
So honestly, looking back on the decision, I still stand by it, to be honest, just because I do know that Jimmy was doing things that could have potentially put me on the block and sent me home sooner than I sent myself home. So I just had to stick with my guns on that. Now, I did love Jimmy as a person. Going back, maybe not caring too much about what it would have done for Morgan if he stayed, because I was so locked into our final two. But honestly, I don't regret it, just because if you have regrets, honestly, that means you don't trust what you did. And I trust myself. It just didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
Just going back to something I mentioned earlier, what did you mean by it being a faith-based decision? Was it more so just like something you felt in your gut? Is it speaking to something else?
Yeah. So faith-based meaning like it just felt right. It didn't feel good in regards to what I was hearing and what I was seeing. I saw a lot of things from Jimmy that just didn't make me feel well. It's kind of like a little butterfly feeling you get in your stomach, and it just felt like the butterflies were getting stabbed. So I kind of just followed that, and that was a faith-based decision. It was a mixture of that, God, and just using my discernment to try to get someone out who I knew was okay with me potentially going home based on their actions.
Well, you talk about Morgan. It's a very interesting relationship as well. You mentioned how at that point the two of you seemed thick as thieves, but even starting with after that Jimmy nomination, I think especially with, the melting pot and the final three with Vince and Zach, you were looking a certain way. There was certainly that moment when you get nominated during Vince's HOH where you confront her. So talk to me a bit about your perspective on this relationship and how it has changed over the course of the season.
Honestly, I think Morgan connected to me early on because I'm pretty sure she saw in me what others saw in me. I'm sorry. And that was just greatness. Obviously, I was destined to go really, really far in this game. Of course, why would you not think that? But I think she saw that and she connected herself to me. And I do think she took my kindness for weakness for sure. And she did really good at it, honestly. So when Jimmy said that she was a snake, I didn't believe him, but it was pretty much on par. I think she utilized me to save herself. And I mean, that's Big Brother. You expect the unexpected. You do what you have to do when you backstab. And she definitely is a textbook player when it comes to that, for sure.
After you took HOH, there were some comments from some of your closest allies about how they felt your behavior had changed. That you were very open about the fact that I've got my people. You said I have to do what's best for my game, not necessarily our game. Ashley, at one point in the DR, actually calls you a dictator. Why were you so open about, who you felt you had, and what is your reaction to that perception?
So I think I was open in regards to who I had to the people that I had, if that makes sense. So amongst the people that knew we were together. So I don't think I ever like said that to people that were not connected or in our little bubble, if that makes sense. Hearing that I was a dictator is very shocking personally, just because I was really open to make decisions based on others' games and sometimes not even my own. Using my power was to save Ashley. And even when Ashley was potentially going to go home, I definitely, made sure that she felt welcome and kind of even gave her pep talks to stay. I mean, was one of her biggest supporters. So I don't believe I would be a dictator, or I don't think I'm even close to that, to be honest. But honestly, in the Big Brother house, people think things that might not be true and sometimes are true. But maybe when I watch back and see what she saw, I might feel differently.
Talking about another up and down relationship you had, let's get into the Rachel of it all. Of course, you certainly had some thoughts about her as you're indicating right now. And I mean, you said some things along the lines of, Rachel's exactly the same way she was 15 years ago. You called her conniving and
Yeah,
nasty. You said two husbands, two kids and a husband doesn't make you a better person. Talk to me
that's
about what fueled some of those very personal comments.
So to be honest, Rachel, in my opinion, I think she might be a great person, but she came into the house kind of just making it seem like everyone was beneath her because she'd been on the show before. And me, honestly, I believe in equality. I think all people are created equal, and I don't think she lives or breathes that model, especially in the house. She was very rude, very mean, and nasty. And when things were not going her way, or even just when things just weren't centered around her. And I don't know if she understood that this is a good opportunity for a lot of us. A lot of us fought to be here, obviously, and we know she's, this legend, which is respectable, of course, but it's like you don't put others down to make yourself feel better. And that was my problem. The moment that, she felt a way towards me, she expected the house to turn as well, and it didn't happen. And I think that was the issue. I am very strong, a very strong woman, and I don't think she was used to people actually exuding any type of strongness next to her. I don't cower easily, and I think that's what she expected and wanted. And that'll never happen.
So, your alliance in this early stages of the game talked a lot very openly about who you wanted in jury. And, that information gets back to Ashley, Will, and Rachel. They take it a certain way, very understandably so, leads to this confrontation between Rachel and Morgan. So, talk to me a bit about that logic and how do you look back on it, considering that, unfortunately, you were just short of reaching that checkpoint.
Right. So no, honestly, the logic I think was still sound. I've always wanted Rachel and Jury since I'd say maybe like day 5 after I was okay with her being in the house. Because I did think that she'd be a great person to narrate and kind of just help out with the roundtable. When I started not wanting her in jury was when Morgan came to me and said that obviously Rachel was out to get her and that she wanted her out the house because, they were yelling and had the fight. And that's kind of when I was defending Morgan. But honestly, I wanted Rachel in jury. When I first met Rachel the first week, we were fine. I'm like, great, like you should be there. I'd love to connect with you, so on and so forth. And that didn't change until that moment with Morgan and Rachel. When that happened, Rachel became enemy number 99. And that was really it. But prior to that, I wanted her. Like, and that still didn't change after we kind of did what we did. I wanted her there. And even when Rachel asked me to evict her or nominate her so she can go home to her kids and her husband, I said no, because, I want you here. You deserve to be here. And I mean, I stood by that. Maybe I shouldn't have. That's the only thing I kind of think about right now. Maybe I shouldn't have. I'm still
What
confused on that one.
Last thing I want to do really quickly is I'm going to give you the name of someone still in the house. I want you to give me the first word or few words that comes to mind immediately when you think of them.
Okay.
Let's start with Ashley.
Ooh, diabolical.
Ava.
Ooh, conniving.
Kelly.
Ooh, weird.
Keanu.
Oh, gosh, disgusting.
Lauren.
Weak.
Morgan.
Snake.
Rachel.
Boring.
Vince.
Bored.
And finally, Will.
Oh, sweetheart.
Well, thank you so much, Mickey, for everything you brought. Again, it was a tumultuous 8 weeks for you, but it's been a tumultuous 8 weeks for all of us. And
Right.
so, no matter what, you played the game hard, and that is something that, as fans, we all greatly appreciate. And I'm so glad, you walk out of the house with your confidence, as matched as it was coming in. Hats off to you. This was such a
Thank
great time getting
you.
the chance to watch you and talk with you today.
Thank you, of course, and back at you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, all the best to you and yours, and have a great weekend. Thanks so much,
Thank you.
Mickey.
All right, bye.
Bye.